So I got a couple throttle bodies here. Now, since the dawn of time, it seems like everyone on FEOA, the Ford Escorts Owners Association, that's a North American forum and our Facebook page. However, everyone has been saying all this time that the throttle body from the 3.7 Ford Mustang is bigger than the one for the 1.9 EFI high output that came in the Escorts and EXPs. Now, well, here's what's going on now. It's not bigger. They are the same. And I mean, they really are the same. Now there are a number of differences between these, but as far as performance goes, there's not an advantage to getting the Mustang one unless your Escort EXP one is just worn out. You can see here mine has butterfly wear on that right side, and you're probably asking, what the heck is that from? Well, let me tell you, I asked the same thing when I saw that. So when I turn it open, you can kind of see what's going on. As I open it, part of the butterfly is scraping the housing while the shaft is actually trying to creep out. That's quite dreadful. And it only happens because of this dumb link control arm that they don't need, that is here, is wrecking havoc on this stuff. So you can see when I pull out this lever, it kicks. You see that there? It kicks the throttle shaft out to the right. You can see that right next to my finger here. See it creep out every time I roll the throttle forward. It's because of this stupid plastic joint bar here. Now it might be fine if this plate here was more aligned with what it's pulling against, but it's not. And it might be better if this link thing wasn't squared, but it is. But probably most critical is nothing would happen if there was one of these cable posts directly onto the actual throttle shaft that when you press the gas pedal, it would move the throttle shaft instead of this relay arm. So that's what I'm fighting here. But you're probably watching this video for a different reason. You want to know what the difference is between this 1.9 EFI high output throttle body and this one from the Mustang 3.7 V6. Now this one came out of a 94 in a 5-speed, so with a 94 5-speed. We got it because, well, that's the 5-speed you want if you plan on show swapping something. So that's why we got it. The engine came with the transmission, so now we have everything we need to SHO swap a 65 Mustang. I'm sorry, we'll never review anything like that on here because this is EXP and Escort specific. But the end result is, well, I got all these 3.7 parts, and yeah, for years everyone said, well, you get the 3.7 throttle body, it's the same thing, but it's bigger. It's not bigger, dang it! It's freaking not bigger. It just isn't. I've mic'd them out. And I put a caliper on each end here. The one for the 1.9 measures out at 49.9 something millimeters. So we'll just say it's 50 millimeters across from the inside, because that is the diameter of the butterfly itself. So it's 50 millimeters across. And in this one, it's 51 millimeters. I mic'd it out and it was 50 point something. But you can see there's a step down in there. So when you measure right where the shaft is, before the step out. This is only that same freaking 49.9 whatever millimeters. So they are the same. And it's irritating. Everyone said forever, well, it's a big upgrade. You'll feel the performance. Well, clearly, no one's actually ever done this, or someone would have noticed that they're not different. And I mean, they're not different. I mean, they do have some differences. You can see this this airway bleed circuit. It is a little different. It's bigger on the 3.8. And they do have the same ports up top for slightly different control, but good grief. On the sides, they're very different here. The throttle shaft is totally different. You can see on this one, it still has this post that this one uses because they're the same freaking casting. The only thing they changed was this trumpet horn on the outside. And then they got rid of this little chunk of casting that didn't do anything, so they got rid of it here too. But yeah, good grief, the only difference is the darn trumpet diameter. And see, the Escort one is only a tiny bit smaller. And on the outside, the inside, they're the frickin' same. Now, if we look down at the shaft and the butterfly, you can see the butterfly for the 3.7. It has that air hole in it. So when the throttle is shut, there's always some air going past it. The Escort EXP is not like this. When you close the throttle, you kind of close the throttle. And air doesn't come by until it opens, or the valving mechanism here opens it up. But on the Mustang, you'll see that the shaft is present on both sides of the butterfly, okay, which in theory restricts some airflow. But on the Escort one, you can see that, yes, there is a shaft on this side. But when we open up the tap, come on, work with me, you crazy thing. There we go. Yeah, look at that. That's flat, because that is what they call a half shaft, because it's clearly been milled in half, and that provides a higher velocity. And this one has no such thing. So why on earth would you go from your 1.9 to your 3.7 throttle body? I just don't get it. Unless yours is like mine, where the plate itself is chewed up and worn out, then you could consider doing something like pulling a plate out of one of these Mustang ones, put it in there, and the only thing you have to mess with is that bleed hole maybe being a problem. That's all you'd have to do. You're looking at changing out 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and you're done. That's worst case scenario. Most people, they probably have a good one of these, and then they just think, well, I'll get the Mustang one because everyone says it's better, but it ain't. Good grief. Now, I should say that I believe it's BBK. Yeah, I think so. It's an aftermarket company, and they do make some throttle bodies. They make a big old honking throttle body for the 3.7 Mustang, and you can use that on your 1.9. It's got the same bolt pattern and everything. But on the back, it's got some port differences up in this area with the, I believe that is the idle vacuum control valve system. There is some sort of difference up there. The bolt pattern is the same. The hole center is in the same spot. One thing you do have to do is change out the throttle position sensor, and then change out the linkage if you so desire, because I believe the one on the BBK is the same thing as this guy, this funky one for the Mustangs, because that's what it's built for. But I could be wrong, Yeah, I'm not too uppity up on this EFI stuff. Just not a high priority for me. But then, one thing you do have to keep an eye out for is if you change this 1.9 throttle body for whatever reason, you do have this vacuum port on here to deal with. The Mustang one has no such vacuum port. You could definitely drill a hole and put in like a sync screw bung, for like motorcycles, carb synchronizations, or other things. There's a few options, but that is something to keep in mind. You will have to put some sort of bung in there for your vacuum system, unless you plan on deleting all your vacuum systems because there's no good reason for it, but it's cool, I guess. But that's kind of what we're up against. Now, something I did consider is possibly either converting to this. This is a throttle body for a Ford SVT Contour. You see the SVT sticker there. So this is for an SVT Contour, and when you measure across it, this one is 60 millimeters, or just under, can't remember. I measured it this evening and I'm tired. But this does measure out at 60 millimeters, which is a bunch bigger than either of these. I mean, it's bigger than the frickin' 3.7 throttle body. I mean, whoa, look at that crap. And then the normal 2.5 Contour one, it's a little smaller. It's probably, I think, a 55 or 57 versus the 60 that the SVT is. Well, but I was measuring a few things because I live near a machine shop. It's very easy to take one of these 1.9 throttle bodies over to the machine shop, chuck it up on a lathe, and then have the inside cut to the 60 millimeter diameter. That way I can use that 60 millimeter plate. I probably can't use the 60 millimeter the shaft that goes with the plate, but really that's probably fine because, like I mentioned earlier, this also is a full shaft versus the half shaft these Escort ones are. So, higher flow would be, I'll get rid of that. So this one, it's already gone. Literally all I have to do is just open up this bore for the bigger throttle plate. And then I'd have a 60 millimeter throttle plate. Now I will put in the link of this. Okay, well I'm getting a little carried away here. Now the throttle shafts themselves are a little different. This one is, I believe, a 10 millimeters across. The one for the Escort is 9.7, something like that. So it's a little smaller. So interchanging the shafts isn't really a possibility. You could do it, but that's a lot of work involved. It's far easier just to pull out the two screws, put them in here. I know the screw spacing is going to be different, but that's easily overcome. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. And I will have links in the video to that BBK Throttle Body, because that is definitely something you can do. I think it's a 57 millimeter throttle body. Whatever it is, I'll put it down in the description for your viewing pleasure. Now, sometime I will also get around the 1.6 throttle bodies, because I have two from two EXP turbos, actually. So I will get those around sometime, and then I might remake this video with all of those, so it's all on record. So please, if you're one of the people touting that, the 3.7 throttle body is bigger, it's just not. It is not. Sorry to be breaking hearts, but that's the truth. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you. I'm not doing any of this for money. I'm just here to pass the knowledge along. And everything's a learning curve. But yes, just some things to keep in mind. But very disappointing. Anyhow, we'll catch you on the flip side, I guess.